She told her boss, "My husband pays all my bills while I sleep with you. It's perfect," during their meeting. His wife hired a private investigator who caught everything on camera. I got $500,000 in their divorce settlement. She got fired and blacklisted from her industry, and her boss lost his house and kids. I, 34 male, and my ex-wife Rachel, 32, were together for 8 years, married for 5. We met at a mutual friend's party. She was charming, ambitious, worked in pharmaceutical sales. I fell hard. We had what I thought was a good marriage. No kids yet, but we were trying. I make decent money, not tech bro money, but enough that Rachel could work part-time if she wanted. She insisted on keeping her full-time position though. Said she loved the challenge, the travel, meeting with doctors and hospitals. I respected that. Supported her career moves, covered most of our bills so she could save and invest. Classic supportive husband stuff. The red flag started small. Late meetings that ran until 11 p.m. Weekend conferences that suddenly became mandatory. Her boss Marcus, 45M, texting her constantly about urgent client issues. I brought it up once, calmly. She exploded. Called me controlling, insecure, said I was trying to sabotage her career because I was threatened by her success. So I backed off, gaslit myself into thinking I was the problem. Then came the company retreat in Miami. She was gone for 5 days. Barely texted, said the Wi-Fi was spotty. When she got back, she was different, distant. Started sleeping in the guest room because my snoring was getting worse. I knew, deep down I knew, but I needed proof before I imploded my life. So I did something I'm not proud of. I checked our phone bill. Hundreds of texts to one number. Late night calls lasting hours. The number belonged to Marcus. Instead of confronting her immediately, I waited. Documented everything. Screenshots, call logs, credit card statements showing charges at hotels during her client lunches. I opened a separate bank account she didn't know about. Moved some money. Just in case. The universe has a sick sense of humor though. 2 weeks into my evidence gathering, I get a Facebook message from Diane, Marcus's wife. She wanted to meet for coffee, said it was about our spouses. Diane looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. She slid a manila folder across the table. Inside were photos. Rachel and Marcus at restaurants, holding hands, getting into his car after meetings, hotel lobby timestamps. "I hired a private investigator 3 weeks ago," Diane said. "I'm sorry you had to find out this way." I stared at those photos for what felt like hours, my wife laughing at something he said, his hand on her lower back. They looked happy. Diane had more than photos, though. The PI had gotten creative. Turns out the conference room at Marcus's office was adjacent to a rarely used service corridor. The PI, knowing the law inside and out, had found a way to place a recording device in that public access hallway. The audio wasn't courtroom perfect, but it was clear enough. The audio was damning. Moaning, sure, but it was what came after that killed me. Rachel's voice, breathless and laughing. "This is perfect. James pays all the bills while I get to have actual fun with you. He's so clueless, probably planning some romantic dinner right now while I'm here with you. Poor guy. Well, his loss is my gain. The best part is he thinks I'm working late for my career. Meanwhile, I'm working late for this." They both laughed. I excused myself to throw up in the coffee shop bathroom. When I came back, Diane was stone-faced. "I'm filing for divorce Monday. I wanted to give you a heads up. This is going to get messy, and your wife will likely be named in the proceedings." I asked her to wait. Just 1 week. Told her I needed time to protect myself financially and emotionally. She agreed, but said her lawyer was already drafting papers. That weekend, Rachel announced she had another conference, Chicago this time. 3 days. I helped her pack, kissed her goodbye, told her I loved her. Then I called a divorce attorney. My lawyer, Janet, was brutal in the best way. "Missouri is technically a no-fault state," she explained, "but it allows judges to consider marital misconduct when dividing property and awarding support. Adultery, this blatant, gives us massive leverage. We'll argue she squandered marital assets. She's not going to get a free ride." But that wasn't enough. I wanted her to feel what I felt. That sick drop in your stomach when your world falls apart. While Rachel was in Chicago, she was actually at a local hotel with Marcus, according to Diane's PI. I moved fast, withdrew exactly half our joint savings, which was my legal right, canceled her credit cards that I was the primary on. Changed the beneficiaries on my life insurance and 401k from her to my sister. Then I got creative. I knew Rachel's company had a strict morality clause. Sleeping with a direct supervisor was a fireable offense, so was using company resources for personal activities. Every client dinner she expensed while with Marcus? Fraud. I compiled everything. The photos, the audio transcripts, the expense reports, the hotel receipts, made multiple copies. One for my lawyer, one for Diane's lawyer, one for myself, and one for HR. But I didn't send it. Not yet. Rachel came home Sunday night glowing. Told me all about the amazing sessions, the networking, how Marcus had introduced her to some major hospital executives. I nodded, smiled, poured her wine. We even had sex that night. She initiated, probably out of guilt. I went through the motions, feeling nothing. Monday morning, she left for work early. Had a big presentation, she said. I kissed her goodbye for the last time. At 9 a.m., I filed for divorce. At 9:15 a.m., Diane filed too, naming Rachel in her petition. At 9:30 a.m., I emailed the package to the head of HR and blind copied the company's general counsel. At 9:45 a.m., I texted Rachel, I know about you and Marcus. Your things will be in the garage. Don't come inside. By 10 a.m., my phone was exploding. Rachel called 17 times in 5 minutes. Then the text started. Baby, please let me explain. It's not what you think. James, please answer. I love you, not him. It was a mistake. Please don't do this. I blocked her number. Then Marcus started calling. I let that go to voicemail. His message was panicked. James, man, we need to talk. This is all a misunderstanding. You're about to ruin lives here. Call me back. I didn't. By noon, Rachel was at the house, pounding on the door. I'd changed the locks that morning. She was screaming, crying, making a scene. Mrs. Patterson next door was watching from her window, probably live tweeting the whole thing. James, open the door. This is my house too. I called the police, told them my estranged wife was trespassing and disturbing the peace. They removed her. The next few days were a blur of lawyers, paperwork, and phone calls. Rachel hired an attorney who tried to claim the evidence was obtained illegally. Janet shut that down fast. The PI was licensed, the recordings were from a public access area, and the bulk of the evidence was our own financial records. Then came the professional fallout. HR launched an investigation. Rachel and Marcus were both suspended pending review. Their computers were seized, emails examined. Turns out they'd been using company email to send explicit messages. IT found everything. A week later, they were both fired. Marcus for abuse of power and misuse of company resources. Rachel for violating the morality clause and expense fraud, nearly $20,000 in false claims over a year. But that wasn't the worst part for them. The pharmaceutical industry is small. Word travels fast. Rachel's reputation became toxic. Recruiters would view her LinkedIn, but the calls never came. Marcus was radioactive. A married executive who slept with a subordinate and got caught? Career suicide. Diane, meanwhile, was surgical in her divorce. Missouri's laws allowed her to leverage the adultery and financial misconduct for a favorable settlement. She kept the house, got primary custody of their 3 kids, and secured a massive alimony payment. He had to move back in with his mother at 45. My divorce was cleaner, but still brutal. Rachel tried to claim she deserved half my retirement and spousal support. Janet presented the evidence of the affair and the money she'd wasted. The judge wasn't sympathetic. In the end, Rachel got her clothes, her car, that she was still making payments on, and her personal belongings. She had to pay back her share of the fraudulent credit card charges I had initially covered. The last time I saw Rachel was in court. She looked destroyed. Hair unwashed, designer suit replaced with something off the rack. She tried to catch my eye, maybe hoping for some sign of the man who used to love her. I looked right through her. After the hearing, her lawyer pulled me aside. Said Rachel was staying with her parents, couldn't find work, was considering moving states to escape the professional fallout. She wanted me to tell you she's sorry, he said, for what it's worth. It's worth nothing, I replied. That was 6 months ago. I'm in therapy now, working through the trust issues. Dating isn't even on my radar yet. Some days are better than others. Rachel texts from new numbers sometimes. I don't read them anymore, just block and move on. Mutual friends tell me she's working retail now, living in her childhood bedroom. Marcus is driving Uber, last I heard. His ex-wife Diane started a successful consulting firm with the divorce settlement. Me? I'm okay. Not great, but okay. The house feels empty sometimes, but I'm learning to appreciate the quiet. No more late-night anxiety about where she really is. No more gaslighting, no more lies. I know some of you will say I went too far, that I should have just divorced her and moved on. But when you hear the person you love most in the world laughing about what a fool you are, something breaks inside you. Something that can't be fixed with a clean break. I didn't want revenge at first. I just wanted the truth. But when the truth is that cruel, sometimes revenge finds you. Update 1. Didn't expect this to blow up. Reading your comments has been therapeutic, triggering, both. Anyway, a few months have passed and some of you asked for updates. Boy, do I have them. Remember how I said Rachel was texting from new numbers? That escalated. She started showing up places. The grocery store, the gym, always with that same broken look like a kicked puppy. She'd try to approach, I'd leave. Simple. Then I found out we were going to the same therapy practice. I didn't find out from a receptionist. That would be a massive violation. No, I was walking to my car after a session and saw her car pull into the lot. I froze. Watched her walk into the same building, same suite of offices. The knot in my stomach was instant. I switched therapists the next day. But the real drama came from an unexpected source. Marcus's kids. His oldest, Tyler, 17, reached out on Instagram. Said he needed to talk to me, that it was important. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet him at a Starbucks. This kid looked rough. Angry. He slid his phone across the table, showing me text messages. From Rachel. To him, she was trying to convince him that his dad wasn't the bad guy, that marriages fall apart, that love is complicated. It was bad enough, but then he told me she had shown up at his high school football game, trying to talk to him on the sidelines. Basically grooming and stalking a teenager to advocate for his father. She says dad's gonna hurt himself if mom doesn't ease up, Tyler said. That it's mom's fault he's depressed. That you and mom planned this whole thing to ruin them. I saw red. How long has this been going on? The texts started 3 weeks ago. The game was last Friday. Dad gave her my number, said she could explain better. I told Tyler the truth. All of it. Showed him the same evidence I'd shown the lawyers. His face went from confused to disgusted to furious. She called you clueless, he whispered, while she was, with my dad, in his office where we visit him. Tyler left that meeting with screenshots of Rachel's messages and a promise to tell his mother. I felt bad for the kid, but he deserved the truth. Diane called me that night, furious, not at me, at them. Manipulating and approaching a minor? That was a new low. She was filing for a restraining order on behalf of her son. But wait, it gets worse. 2 days later, I get a call from Janet. Rachel was suing me for intentional infliction of emotional distress. Claimed I'd conspired to destroy her life, that I'd acted maliciously, that she'd lost everything because of my vendetta. Janet actually laughed. This is a desperation move. You reported facts to appropriate parties. That's not harassment, it's consequences. It'll be a pain, but she has no case. The lawsuit dragged on for months. A slow-moving drain on my finances and my sanity. But discovery was a gift. Rachel's ambulance-chasing lawyer requested all communications related to the divorce, which meant we got access to hers. Diane's lawyer, in a related motion, shared new texts between Rachel and Marcus. Turns out they were still in contact, planning to rebuild once the heat died down. One text stood out. Marcus, once I get back on my feet, we can try again. Maybe Vegas? Rachel, I can't wait. James was such a waste of my best years. Her own lawyer dropped her after seeing that text during deposition prep. The judge dismissed her case with prejudice, and I countersued for legal fees, defamation, and harassment. We settled out of court. She had to pay a portion of my legal fees and sign a strict agreement to cease all contact, direct or indirect. Any violation would result in immediate legal action. You'd think that would be the end, right? Nope. Update 2. It's been another 6 months since my last update, putting me well over a year past D-Day. I genuinely thought this saga was over. I was wrong. Quick recap. I was moving on. Rachel was legally bound to leave me alone. Marcus was fighting for visitation. Diane was thriving. Then Rachel's father, Richard, called me. He'd always been a good guy, old school, treated me like a son. His voice was tired when he asked if we could meet. I need to know what really happened, he said. Rachel's story doesn't add up, and she's not doing well, James. Against my better judgment, I met him. I showed him everything. He looked like he'd aged 10 years. I failed her somehow, he said. He told me Rachel was spiraling, drinking heavily, refusing to look for work, convinced everyone was against her. Her mother was enabling it, blaming me for ruining her baby. It's destroying our marriage now, too, he admitted. I felt bad for him, but I kept my distance. 2 weeks later, Rachel got arrested for DUI. She crashed into a parked car in Marcus's neighborhood at 2 a.m. She had been stalking him. Police found a rambling letter in her car about how they were meant to be together. Marcus finally got that restraining order. The arrest, combined with her earlier behavior, made it easy. But the real karma came from Tyler, Marcus's son. He was 18 now. A few months ago, he started a YouTube channel about dealing with family trauma. His video titled, "My Dad Cheated and Destroyed 2 Families," started getting traction. He didn't hold back, and he showed some of the texts Rachel had sent him. The internet did what the internet does. People who knew the story from our town chimed in. The video blew up. 2.3 million views and counting. Rachel's "My husband pays all the bills while I sleep with you" audio clip became a TikTok sound people used to mock cheaters. The viral attention was the last straw for Marcus's mother. The shame from her church and social circle was too much. She asked him to leave. He's living in a low-rent apartment now, last I heard. Last week, Diane called me. She'd been contacted by a production company that makes documentary series for streaming services. They wanted to do an episode on workplace affairs and their fallout. They're offering good money, she said. Enough to pay for all 3 kids' college. But I wanted to check with you first. You'd be part of it too. I thought about it for maybe 10 seconds. Do it. So yeah, our story might end up on Hulu or Max. Rachel's new lawyer already sent a cease and desist, but since everything is public record and we're not lying, it's just noise. The filmmaker interviewed me last week, 3 hours of questions. They asked if I regret how I handled it. I regret that it had to happen, I said. But I don't regret protecting myself and making sure the truth came out. They asked if I've forgiven Rachel. Forgiveness isn't for her, it's for me. It's letting go of the anger so it doesn't poison you. I'm working on it. The last question hit hard. What would you tell someone going through this right now? Document everything. Protect yourself legally and financially. Don't act out of anger. Act out of self-preservation. And remember, the best revenge isn't destroying someone else. It's rebuilding yourself into someone who can't be destroyed again. Final update. I wasn't going to update again, but I owe you all closure. It's been a year and a half since I found out. The documentary episode aired 2 months ago. Broken Trust, When Work and Love Collide. They handled it respectfully, focusing on the systemic issues and the ripple effects on families. The response was intense. My inbox flooded with stories from people who'd been through similar hell. Rachel, I heard, moved to a different state. She's working at a call center. A mutual acquaintance told me she's been sober for 8 months, which honestly, I'm glad to hear. Everyone deserves a chance to get better, even if I'll never trust her again. Marcus is still driving rideshare, but Tyler mentioned he's in therapy and has started to have supervised visits with his younger kids. A long road back. Diane's consulting firm just landed a major contract. The documentary brought her legitimacy and clients. She's a force of nature. And me? I started dating someone 3 months ago. Her name is Sarah. She's a therapist, not mine, different practice entirely, and she knows the whole story. We're taking it slow, very slow. But for the first time in forever, I don't check my phone for her location. I don't panic when she has a late meeting. Progress. The house doesn't feel empty anymore. I renovated the master bedroom, needed to reclaim the space. Adopted a dog, a rescue who'd been returned twice for trust issues. We get each other. I still go to therapy. Some days I dream about her, wake up thinking everything's fine, then the reality hits. Those mornings are hard, but they're getting rarer. People ask if I'm over it. You don't get over betrayal. You grow around it, like a tree growing around a fence until the metal is part of the wood. It's always there, but it's no longer the defining feature. My lawyer Janet sent me a final invoice marked paid in full with a note. You won. Not the case. Your life back. Go live it. So I am, day by day, building something new from the rubble. To everyone going through this, it gets different. The sharp edge of betrayal dulls into a persistent ache, then eventually into a scar you only notice when the weather changes. And sometimes, late at night when I can't sleep, I think about that audio recording. My husband pays all the bills while I sleep with you. It doesn't hurt anymore. It just sounds like someone else's life, someone I used to be. That person died in a coffee shop bathroom staring at photos of his wife with another man. The person writing this? He's doing just fine. Thanks for following this journey. I'm logging off this account now. Time to stop looking back. Take care of yourselves.